people I ever hear use the word inflation are journalists and economists, right? So that is not part of the normal lexicon of the way people talk.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Joy Reid of MS13DNC, also known as MSNBC, saying that you guys don't know what the word inflation means, or at least you didn't know what it meant until Republicans taught you what it meant. Now, there's a lot going on. You're talking about elitism and just being in the DC ivory tower, wherever they operate at over at MSNBC. I could talk about all of that, but the first things first, is inflation that big of a word to not know? I mean, I know what that means. Now, granted, I'm a political type person, but I think the average normie understands what that is. It's not that deep. Even if they don't know what that exact word is specifically, they know what inflation does in their everyday life. They know when they go to the grocery store and they're buying the same exact items every single time. They go on the first of the month, 15th. If they have food stamps, well, not food stamps, that's a bad example. But if they go to the grocery store at a certain time every week or every month and they buy the exact same things, they realize that their prices are going up 25%, 40%, 75%, 100% or more. They understand that. They know that things cost more. That's called inflation. It's actually very simple because what else am I going to say? The price of food, gas, and everything has gone up tremendously over the past few days, weeks, months, years. I could say that long sentence right there, or big collection of words, or I could say one word, inflation. All right. You know what the word inflate means. We know how to inflate a tire. So when we're talking about the economy in the context, there should be a clue right there. Okay, things are more expensive. Inflation is going on. Okay, that must mean something's rising. Something's becoming bigger than what it was. Now, before I go any further into it, let's go ahead and roll that full clip. If you want to see that full clip without my commentary, the link, as always, will be in the description.
The people I ever hear use the word inflation are journalists and economists, right? So that is not part of the normal lexicon of the way people talk. So it's interesting that Republicans are doing something they don't normally do, right? Which is not use the common tongue, right? Not use just common English to sort of do on their campaigns like they're doing with crime.
Let's pause right there. So when we're talking about crime, what words do we use when we're talking about crime? We're talking about homicide, home invasion. Are these necessarily like C-spot run type words? Are these words that are just, even the child will understand it? Okay, when we're talking about fraud and other kind of things, these things are just the same as the word inflation. They're not complicated words, nor are they, like I say, C-spot run, duck, duck, go, 1, 2, 3, buckle my shoe. It's not quite that simple. But it's not as complex as, reading an unabridged Bible in the original Hebrew text. It's not quite that way. I mean, good grief. How dumb do you think the American populace is? But I digress.
But what they've done is they've taught people the word inflation, right?
Yeah. Let's pause again. I know I'm pausing a lot. Like I said, it'll be in the box if you want to see it without me talking on it. But, okay, so Republicans have taught people the word inflation. Why haven't you guys taught people the word inflation? Why haven't you guys educated the masses about what certain things are? If you think we're being educated by the Republicans, why haven't you done it? And why would that be a bad thing to have one side of the aisle educate their constituents? Oh, man, that right there is terrible. We should just be controlling and oppressive and just usurp power and money and resources and not care about the constituents. So trying to educate people and trying to guide them in the right direction and give them the tools to be able to fend for themselves out in the world, that's a bad thing. So you're getting on TV right now and trying to complain about that. Okay. I guess the thing is you guys on that side don't do that because you want the power, the money, and the attention. I get it. It's just like what's happening right now with Kyrie Irving and Kanye, but definitely Kyrie Irving. You posting a link to a book and you getting whipped as a result. Oh, don't go out there and read. Don't be reading. I remember a certain time where it was illegal for certain people to read because of a certain thing that could happen. I don't know, but I'm gonna keep on moving.
Most people who would have never used that word ever in their lives are using it now because they've been taught it, including on TV, including in newspapers. They've been taught this word, and they sort of wrap this word around whatever it is that they really want to vote, the reasons they really want to vote. People like
Okay, so basically, what I'm getting from Ms. Joy Reid here is that people never really used that word up until recently when Republicans taught on the word. That's the first thing. Like, we don't have brains. We can't read for ourselves. We don't go to school. We don't go to college or anything. So we just don't know what that word means. That's not how we talk at all. Okay, that's the first thing. But then she's saying, well, people just want to use that word as kind of a scapegoat, if you will. It's kind of a dog whistle. I really want to vote to end trans rights. I really want to vote to take away a woman's right to choose. That's what she wants to say. But rather than saying, I hate women, I'm going to say, oh, I'm voting because of inflation. Huh? I'm going to come back so you can see me clearly. I got to come right on back to the main screen here so you can see me clearly. People understand when they go to the grocery store that things cost more. When they're trying to buy a new car, a new house, when they're trying to do anything in life that costs money, they realize that it's much more expensive right now, today, in 2022 than it was even in 2021 or in 2020. And definitely anytime under the Trump administration, gas was what? $2 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon at best, or at worst under Trump. And now if you get gas for $3.50, $3.75, you're doing good. If you're living in California, forget about it. You pretty much got to sell your kidney whenever you want to fill a tank of gas, and you only got two. So how are you going to be able to live? It's really crazy out here. The economy and inflation is the number one priority of anybody in the country. I've seen various polls, and you're talking about things like crime. Crime is really high too. Abortion, a lot of these other issues. The economy and inflation is right there. Why? Because people got to be able to eat every day. They might not be worried about abortion. They may not be worried about some of the other political things that a guy like me would be worried about, being involved in politics all the time. I'm a political junkie. Joy Reid and MSNBC and Fox, they're more concerned about all political issues because there are certain niche crowds, I guess you would say niche crowds, who are worried about that. But everybody is impacted by the economy. Everybody. Because you got to be able to do certain. You got to be able to get gas for your car to go to work. Why? Because you got to be able to eat food. You got to have some more. You got to have your bare necessities, food, clothing, and shelter. And it takes money to be able to do it. And when your money does not go very far, and when you see on television, they keep giving 400 billion, 40 billion, 800 trillion gazillion to Ukraine. And you're like, wait a minute. We're giving this cash to Ukraine. We're giving so many resources to Ukraine. Meanwhile, I'm going to drive by some little smoky hot sausages from the Piggly Wiggly, and I can't do it. Okay, I'm in the red. I'm negative bank account. So what's really going on? Okay, and then you turn on the TV, and they're talking about what's happening and why it's happening, and it's legitimate. You see that Joy Reid didn't say that the attack ads from Republicans about inflation to the left are false. She didn't say that. She just said, oh, well, now they're being taught about it. They're being educated about it. So whatever you want to vote for, you'll wrap it in the idea of inflation. Well, the question, $1 million question here, Joy Reid, and listen to me clearly, are the attack ads about inflation false or are they true? Because if they're true, why complain about it? Do something about it. Oh, well, I guess the complaining is because you don't want us to be educated. You don't want us to be informed. You want us to be blind, deaf, and dumb, like you guys on the left always want us to be. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about Joy Reid and what she said here about regular normies not really knowing what inflation is, and it's only a recent thing that Republicans have taught us? Whatever your thoughts are, y'all let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. That was ridiculous for her to say that. That was very elitist. We know what that means. It's not a complicated word. If we know about crime and Roe v. Wade and abortion, we know about inflation. We know about the economy. We know when we go to the grocery store and things cost too much and we can't afford it and we're trying to figure out why. We know what's going on with that. That's not a complicated issue. Like I said, we're talking about some really complicated financial things. Okay, the Fed raising interest rates by 75 basis points. Your normies in the world may not know what that means. But inflation is not that difficult to understand. I just think that Joy Reid wants to deflect away from that argument because it's an elephant in the room that is going to be probably the biggest issue that is voted on in this 2022 midterms, and it's going to damage her side, the left side. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.